Right, we're just getting some wiring done at the moment. Can't do much more to the engine for a minute. I'm waiting for some bits and pieces to turn up. So I've basically been clearing out this area because anything that normally ends up anywhere near the turbo melts. So we've decided to just relocate pretty much everything. Same goes for the power steering side. Got the electric power steering system all connected up again now. Ran a new battery cable from the front to the back. Nice heavy gauge job because we was having problems before. That one there through the bulkhead and back to the battery box in the back. Just wiring in the switches at the moment for the power steering, radiator fans, the lift pump and methanol injection power. Got the dash back in again now. I think got a total of 8 gauges, so a bit of a fail, but at least you know what's going on. They're no longer passenger mounted internal pump pressure, which is kind of viewable for a driver as well now. So we're just wiring in the radiator fans at the moment, just mounting up a relay and get them wired in. Ideal. Just mounting up some different radiator fans. These are the proper blow fans rather than suction fans running in reverse. So hopefully the airflow will be a bit better. So I'm going to get them mounted on the radiator and wire them in instead. Right, I'm just in the middle of wiring up some gauges at the moment. Basically in the end I've decided to pull a 16 core cable, that's some spare pairs there, through from the engine bay to behind the dash, pretty much for sort of gauges and indicator lights and stuff, because I seem to be forever pulling cables through otherwise and it just turns into a total mess. So I figured if I just ran one cable I can use that for lots of different things. So I've got that spliced into 3 gauges there and also some lights on the other side, which obviously comes through the front end. I've got everything coming up through the wheel arch this time around purely because basically otherwise it comes right past where the turbos are and you get some meltage issues. So everything's coming via this way and then across the front end. So that's the termination of all of those down to the sheathed up cables with the plugs on the end. So then I'm just getting around to mounting up the sandwich plates onto the oil filter. So we got the oil cooler one that goes on first. It's a thermostatic Mocal plate, like everyone else uses really. So basically goes between the filter and the block. So you've got your oil through the middle, oil out the outside. When it's cold it just circulates as normal. When it opens up, the thermostat, which is that bit there, closes across that hole, if you can just about see it, which then forces the oil to go down there, which is via the oil cooler and back out the back as normal. So that goes on first, and then on top of that one I've got another plate that's off eBay. It's just like a cheap job. I had it on my last engine. Basically just this little spacer plate with 4 1/8 inch fitting adapters on it. I've got bungs in 2 of them, and then the other 2 are with oil pressure and oil temperature. So there's 2 senders that screw in there, if I can find where I put them. Not too sure at the moment. No, I've lost them, but we'll find them in a minute. Right, that fail's found now inside the car. So that's the oil pressure, oil temperature, and that's a water temp one, but that's going somewhere else. So they screw into there. That goes on the front, then the filter goes on top of that. There's a bit of a stack, and it just clears the radiator, or it should do anyway. It did on the last one. There you go. You can see that's all mounted there now. Right, just cleaning up the supercharger flange now to put on the new supercharger. Just faced off that front again because it was covered in shite. So that's going to go on the new charger now and seal that down after a bit of a clean out. Right, as you can see I'm in the middle of doing my favourite job. Not. Anyone who knows me will know how much I hate heat wrapping manifolds, and this one is an absolute bastard. I've done 3 runners, I've got 2, well I've done 2.5 runners and I've got the other ones to do. It's a bit of a time consuming process and it gets you all itchy and it's horrible and I hate it. Still got to do the other bypass pipe there as well. Done the downpipe, thank fuck, that's nice and easy. But this is the worst bit, so I thought I'd get that bit done first. Fuck's sakes. Right, that's the 4 runners done. Had to double up in a couple places because they're so close together there's no way I could get it around. Right, finally got that all heat wrapped now. It's in the prettiest of things, but oh well, she'll disappear bound behind the engine and no one will know any better. A few more bits to do still, get that done. Alright, I've just put the turbo set back together on the floor now since I've heat wrapped it. Pretty much worked out the easiest way of getting it in and out is sort of as a complete unit rather than assembling it afterwards. But you see I've got all the bypass pipes, wastegate pipes and the main manifold heat wrap there now, and most of the downpipe, but I haven't done the end bit because there's a clamp to go on there. So I've just got to get it in there now, which is a bit of a farce, especially when you're working on your own. Right, the manifold and two turbos are on, or at least some of the bits of the turbo. That was a bit of a nightmare, but they are in there now. Oil lines are sort of temporarily mocked up. Probably going to be changing them at some point, but that should work for a minute. The engine's back on the mount. Yeah, a bit of a farce working by yourself. Trying to do some of the bolts up down there was a bit of a nightmare. But they're in. Heat matrix hoses are even clearing, so that's a bit of a bonus. Didn't expect them to clear. I thought I was going to have to run some custom ones, so that's ideal. Get on. Right, turbos are now fully mounted. Oil line is connected up after a bit of a nightmare, and the breather system fits around it now. Just need the vacuum pump to go in there, but I haven't got one at the moment. So now I'm going to sort out some water hoses for the heater matrix, see if I can fit the expansion tank back in the corner there where it used to be. Hoping it might fit there. We didn't think it was going to, but hopefully it will. God, what's going on there? Yeah. Right, we're just working on the car again at the moment. Got a bit of a problem. Stripped down the VNT to rotate the housing a bit. It's a bit fiddly on the VNT because you've got to line up the arm and stuff. Also, in the process of stripping it, this is actually the first time I've had it apart. It was supposed to have been a rebuilt unit, so had no reason to sort of believe it wasn't. All the paint was on it. Looked like someone had done a pretty good job. Just come apart and basically found that one of the vane levers is bent, which is basically binding on the side of the housing. It looks like someone's tried to tighten it down with the one of the vanes out of the ring. So it's obviously bent it as he's tightened it in, and then he's just slackened it off, sort of fixed it and put it back together, which is obviously not ideal because it means that vane is now sitting in a different position to all the others and quite likely to a hotspot and cook. So this is a bit of an issue, so I'm going to have it all apart now and see if I can bend it at least back roughly now, for now anyway, and see it looking at another turbo or new centre ring assembly. So I'll get that out. Right, I've managed to pretty much bend that back. You can see that one there isn't sitting down quite like the others, and I've kind of gnarled it up a bit, but it is now, if I try to show you, it's floating freely and moving up and down. It's all free, so I think that should hopefully work. And I've twisted it back, and there's actually that there like twisted the shaft between the lever and the vane, so it was out of sync with the others, but I think I've got it virtually right there now, so it should hopefully be alright. Right, I've got that turbo back together now, all working nicely. As you can see, the VNT actuator leaving thing is actually nice and loose now, just floating between the open and closed, which is ideal. So I'm just working on mounting the actuator can that's going to operate that. Obviously, being VNT standard, they're obviously on cars which are, well, common rare with ECUs, and they're operated by vacuum can, which is worked by vacuum, which is through a solenoid. Obviously, in this case, certainly for the time being anyway, it's just going to be actuated with boost, so it kind of acts as a wastegate, but instead of opening your gate and just wasting exhaust gas up high, you take advantage by using the exhaust gas down low by closing the vanes up. So it kind of works like a wastegate turbo, just more effectively with less lag. Set up with the boost can just means it will surge if you leave the stop screw out and give it shit down low. But obviously the stock can is designed to work under vacuum, not boost, which means you have to modify it. And also you do need to really use the original can, as normal wastegate ones don't really have enough travel on them. The VNT ones have got extra travel, and you can get around it quite simply by simply tapping the underside and applying boost to that. But obviously to do that you need to put the actuator on the other side of the turbo, because obviously it doesn't matter which side you put boost on. At the moment it's spring loaded that way, but I want it to be spring loaded that way. So I'm in the middle of hopefully taking this apart so I can hopefully move the spring from this side of the diaphragm to that side. So we're just working on that now, prying it open carefully. Right, got the lid off that now. Just got to be real careful right way around the outside. It's only pressed together. Get that one off. That's your spring obviously, and obviously your diaphragm is on there. So what I'm going to do is try and fit the spring to the wrong side, so this springing the other way. But see what happens. Right, I had to modify the spring a little bit with a pair of bolt cutters, just because the depth of the bottom half isn't quite so deep as the top, so it's putting a bit much preload on that spring. So I've just chopped the spring down on the bottom a little bit. It only sits against the bottom anyway, so it'll be fine. Just to take that off a bit, and then we'll go back together again, hopefully. See, that one goes in there like that. You've got normal sort of preload there now. Put that back on, whip a bit of sealant around the outside just in case it leaks, and then clamp it all back down again. There, I've got that all back together again now, so that's now boost actuated and working the right way around.